So we're going to open up with the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1. We're covering regeneration. Regeneration is the biblical name given to the concept of reincarnation, where one dies and they come back on the earth. Right? There's a lot of... That might be strong.
Yeah, throw that up there.
There's a lot of speculation about what happens to one spirit and soul after you die. Certain men say that you go to a fiery place under the earth called hell. Certain men say that you go up to a place called purgatory, where you have to work out your salvation, right, in limbo, and then if you get things right, you can go back to heaven. Certain men say you just die and your spirit just evaporates. So we have to go through some people say you die. When you die, there's a staircase that you have to climb upon. You have wings and a halo, and you have to wait in line to go through the gates of heaven. And there's an old white man with a beard who has a list to check you in to see if you get in or not, man. Right? The dark people wait in the back, and the lighter people up front.
Peter.
And be about Peter. And Biggie's there, Tupac, who else? Was that Left Eye? You know, Malcolm X is there with Martin Luther King, like the brother said, man. With Marcus Garvey, and he's sitting around playing pool. You know, is that what happens after you die? You go up there, you gotta listen to hit him up again, right? The Lord not dealing with that, man. The 10 crack commandments in the background. All right, so let's go through the precepts and see about regeneration. All right, regeneration again is the biblical name for reincarnation, right? You generate back on the earth. That's what regeneration means. Your genes, your progeny, your bloodline constantly comes back on the earth. When you read the Bible, you come back on the earth constantly, right? Everybody that's in this room, you were here before. All right, you were here in time past. 2,000 years ago or before that, you've always been here. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1, and let's read verse 3. Let's break it down. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 3.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 3. What profit have a man of all his labors which he hath taken under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever.
Right, so you're going to have different generations on the earth at different times. The earth is going to be here forever. Don't think when we say the earth is going to be destroyed, it's not the planet, it's not the land. It's the people that rule the earth. The worlds, the kingdoms are going to be destroyed, but the earth is always going to be here forever. Right? I remember Esau when I was younger, he had this thing about the earth being destroyed. On the History Channel, they'll show you, look at that, 35 years in the 2050, we're going to go to another planet. We have to find life on another planet immediately in case the earth is destroyed. Right? Well, the earth can't be destroyed. It was made, let's go to Psalms 115 and 16. The earth was made for man. Right? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Right? That's what I want, Psalms 115 and 16. The heaven, even the heavens.
Psalms 115 and verse 16. The earth, even the heavens, are the Lord's.
Is that what it says? 115 and 16? The heaven.
The heaven, even the heavens are the Lord's.
So the heaven, even the third heaven, belongs to the Most High, right?
But the earth have he given to the children of men.
So the earth was given to man to dwell on. Man can't dwell up there with the Most High and kick it. There's no more room on the earth. Now we have to go to the heavens. Or we have to go to another planet. No, the earth is given to man to dwell on. But the generations are going to come constantly back on the earth. So let's read that again, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 3. Right, Ecclesiastes 1 and 1 and 4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Verse 5. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. So now the Lord is about to give you a list of different creations that go in cycles. The first creation he's going to list is the sun. The sun has a cycle that it goes through constantly. Right? The sun ariseth in the east, it sets in the west, and continues in the place where it arose. Right? Let's go to 1 Esdras, chapter 4 and 34. There's no such thing as new sunlight or a new sun. The same sunlight you're getting is the same sunlight that somebody got in another part of the world. Right? So there's no new sunlight under the sun. Right? The sun has a constant cycle. In 1 Ezra chapter 4 and 34. We're going to read about that.
The book of 1 Esdras, chapter 4 and verse 32.
34.
34, Salaki. O ye men, are not women strong? Great is the earth.
Great is the earth.
High is the heaven. Swift is the sun in his course.
What the Lord say?
Swift is the sun in his course.
Swift is the sun in its course. The sun has a course. The world wants you to think that the earth revolves around the sun. Right? Is that in the Bible where the earth revolves around the sun on an axis? No. Right, brother? We in the Apocrypha. Yeah, we in the Apocrypha. The sun actually revolves around the earth within its firmament. That's what the Lord says. Swift is the sun in its course.
Swift is the sun in his course, for he compasses the heavens round about, and fetcheth his course again to his own place in one day.
Like a man runs around a track, he has a starting point. He runs around a racetrack and comes back to his starting point. And one day, that's what the sun does. The sun has a starting point, and it rotates within its firmament and goes back in the same place in one day. That's 1 Ezra chapter 4 and 34. Right? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and 17. Right? So we have to break down the strongholds of our people. You know, our people that's getting these degrees in astronomy and physics, and they have to learn about the celestial objects in the heavens. They're led to believe that this is a heliocentric universe, man, where everything revolves around the sun. 9 planets revolve around the sun. Right? And we just so happen to get lucky and be on the fourth one, the third one. Right? That lot fell on us, and we just so happened to make it out of here. Right? What a coincidence. Right? The so-called white man doesn't know how things operate in the heavens, man. Let's get Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 17.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely, to know how the world was made.
So Solomon knew how the world was made. The elements that you know of, carbon, magnesium, iron, right? These things were given to Solomon. He knew how the world was made, how he would take, how the Most High took the elements of oxygen and hydrogen and made water. He knew how the Lord had carbon and did all of these different things. Solomon knew that. He could break it down even before the so-called white man had Albert Einstein, right?
And the operation of the elements.
He knew all of the elements on the periodic table and more.
The beginning, ending, and midst of the time.
He knew the beginning of the world and how the world would end.
The alteration of the turning of the sun.
So he says he knows how the sun turns. So while the sun is rotating, it's also revolving. It's going in revolutions. It's spinning while it's turning within the firmament. The alterations of the turning of the sun.
And the changing of seasons.
And he knew how the seasons change. Right? So it's telling you back in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 that the sun has a cycle that it goes through constantly. Let's go to Sirach 16 and 21. The sun has a cycle that it goes through constantly. The sunlight that you experience, the sun that you see, is not a new sun. The sun don't set and then a new sun come up the next day. Right? It don't get down like that, man. The sun is returning back to its course. Right? Let's get Sirach out of the Apocrypha. Right? Chapter 16 and verse 21.
Sirach chapter.
Slaki, that's also known as, in your Apocrypha, let's say Ecclesiasticus, brother. Right? Ecclesiasticus is right after Wisdom of Solomon. Right? Ecclesiasticus chapter 16 and 21. No,
22.
16 and 21. All right, Con. 22. Con. See, that's what I'm going. Something else. All right, you can read it.
God. This is Sirach.
27. That's what I want. Salaki. 16 and 27.
This is Sirach chapter 16 verse 27. He garnished his works forever.
So the works of the Lord endure forever. The sun is never going to go out of light. The moon is never going to just go away. The so-called white man said the sun may turn into a black hole, or it may turn into a white dwarf, or it may give out a light. Now the new thing is the sun is going to freeze over. That's what they're saying. The sun in about 10,000 years is going to freeze over. Well, the Lord said the works of the Lord are forever, man. Right, go on.
And in his hands are the chief of them unto all generations.
Meaning the Most High controls these things forever.
They neither labor nor are weary, nor cease from their works.
So that course that we read about in 1 Ezra 4:34, that the sun goes on, that course doesn't cease. It constantly goes on forever. So the sun has a cycle. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 5. And there's a reason why we're reading about how things go in cycles. So now we're going through the sun first. Right? Let's read that again, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 5. Everything goes in a cycle. Alright?
Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 5. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hastens to the place where he arose.
See that? So the sunlight that you get is not new sunlight. It's the same sun coming back to its original place.
Verse 6. Verse 6. The wind goeth toward the south, and it turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits.
See that? So the wind goes in a cycle. Does the breeze that you feel on a summer night, is that a new breeze? The Lord that made that breeze just for you, brother. Right? No, that breeze is the same breeze that somebody felt an hour ago in another place, man. So even the wind goes in a cycle. The Lord actually has a wind, a document in the Bible called Euroclydon. That's in the book of Acts. That comes in its circuit every year. Right, let me get this in the book of, that's the book of Acts. Right? Let me get this precept. Bear with me. Acts 27 and 13. Right, here's a precept for the wind going in cycles. The book of Acts, chapter 27 and 13, I read. It says, and when the south wind blew softly, supposing that they had obtained their purpose, loosing thence, they sailed close by Crete. But not long after there arose against it a tempestuous wind called Euroclydon. And when the ship was caught and could not bear up into the wind, we let her drive. So this stormy wind isn't new. It happens every year. While you sail around this time of the year, around the 7th month, around the Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Tabernacles, that wind comes every year. So you can't say this is a new storm we're experiencing. No, it comes every time of the year. The sun has a cycle that it goes in. The wind has a cycle. Right? Even Esau, he has different latitudes where certain winds are stronger than other winds. Right? He has horse latitudes. He has the doldrum where there's no wind, and different parts of the earth where winds are stronger than other winds. Right? So the winds that you experience aren't new, but they go in a cycle just like the sun. So the sun goes in a cycle, the wind goes in a cycle. Let's see what else. In Ecclesiastes 1.
Verse 7.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 7.
All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from which the rivers come, thither they return again.
So now the rivers, the water, everybody knows the water cycle, right? The water cycle, what happens? It rains, it floods the ocean, it evaporates, goes back to the sky in the clouds, it condenses, right? And then it rains again, right? That's called the water cycle, right? So the water that you drink, it's not new water, brother. That water has been here forever. The raindrops that you feel, they have been here forever, right? So no new water under the sun. Hey, these water bottles that you drink, simply because it's new on the shelf, doesn't make it new, man. These things are forever. All right, so the sun goes in a cycle. The wind goes in a cycle. The water even goes in cycles. All right, that makes sense, everybody? Everything goes in a cycle. All right, what happens when you plant a seed, brother? And then what happens? It grows. You said what, brother?
It makes more seeds.
Right. At the end, it makes more seeds. You grow, it bears forth, it bears fruit. The fruits hit the ground. The seeds from the fruit hit the soil. Rain comes and it grows and brings forth more fruit. So seeds go. Everything has a cycle. That's what we're experiencing in the book of Ecclesiastes. The Lord is telling you about the works, how they endure forever. All right. So we can read on.
Go. Verse 8. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it, The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing.
So all things produce labor. Everything works, right? That's why we even read. You may think that the earth doesn't work, but why would the Lord give the earth a land Sabbath if it doesn't? If it's not full of labor, right? The earth has to do what? It has to bring forth nutrients, supply nutrients to trees. You understand? Different types. There's so many types of plants. The earth is always at labor, man. So the Lord says all things are full of labor. You're always at work. The wind is working. Trees are working. Animals are moving. Things are always in motion, man. Things are always releasing energy, man. You know, I believe work is the definition of work is like the release of energy. Whether you do heavy labor or light labor, all things are full of labor, man. Right? Anything that's animate or living is going to be full of labor. Right? You may look at a sloth and it's not moving, or a moss. Everything is full of labor, and everything serves a purpose. Right? That's what we're reading about in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 8. Right? Now, we went through the sea, we went through the sun that goes in a cycle, the wind that goes in a cycle, the water that goes in a cycle, and all of the works of the Most High full of labor. Now we're going to read about another thing that goes in a cycle. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 9.
The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun.
Let's read that again.
The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be.
So the thing that hath been that was before us is going to come back. The thing that hath been is that which shall be. Right?
And that which is done,
and that which is done, the thing that is done and over with,
is that which shall be done.
Is going to come back again.
And there is no new thing under the sun.
There's no new sunlight, no new water, no new wind, no new fruit that you ate, right? No new thing under the sun. Now, if I say, hey, Ezra, can you hand me that thing over there? What am I talking about? You don't know, right? If I say, hey, hand me that thing up there, you don't know, right? What is this thing that the Lord is speaking about, right? The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. This thing that was here before is going to come back. This thing that is dead is going to come back. There's no new thing under the sun. Let's find out what this thing is.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 15.
6 and 10. Let's get
6
that.
and 10.
Let's go to Ecclesiastes 6 and 10. The Bible's going to tell you. Remember it said the thing that has been. Right? Let's see what has been.
Ecclesiastes 6 and 10. Say not thou, what is the... Oh, the 7. So like 6 and 10. That which had been is named already.
So the thing that has been is named already.
And it is known that it is man.
That what?
That it is man.
So what is the thing in Ecclesiastes 1 and 9?
Son.
No? Somebody said it. What is the man? Man. Does that make sense to everybody?
The thing that has already
The thing that has been, it is that which shall be.
Oh, come.
There you go, brother. You regenerate. So the same way the sun and the wind and the water regenerates or comes back, man does too. We read in Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, the thing that has been, now it's telling you, what is that thing? That thing is known. That thing is man. Does that make sense? It makes sense, brother? All right, brothers in the back, that makes sense? Come. All right, let's read that again. Ecclesiastes 6 and 10.
Ecclesiastes 6 and 10. That which hath been is named already.
Because we read about the thing that has been. So now the Lord is telling you that which has been is named already.
And it is known that it is man.
That it is man. Neither what?
Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he.
So the Lord is constantly going to bring you back on the earth, man. You can't fight against that. You can't contend with that. You can't say, well, Lord, I don't want to come back on the earth. I want to stay up here in my generation. Right? Lord, please don't send me down. The earth is wicked. No, you got to come back on the earth, man. Everybody got to come back on the earth. Right? You hear it, man. You know? So the thing that had been is named already, and it is known that it is man. Let's go back to 1 and 9. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. And they don't teach you this in church, man. The Baptist church, the pastor, he's not going to break down to you the concept of regeneration, right? And this regeneration is different than reincarnation. Reincarnation is that if we die, that will tell you that you can come back as an elephant, a book bag, kneecaps, a necklace, a bracelet, a tablet, a wisdom tooth, right? Skin, a liver, a bird, a headband. You see that? You come back as a headband, man. Right?
That's worse.
Yeah, that's off, man. A cup, a leaf, right? The Lord not dealing with that. You come back as a man. Elephants come back as elephants. Ostriches come back as ostriches. Man comes back as man. Right? Let's read that again. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9.
Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be.
So man that hath been, right? Man that was here 2,000 years ago, hey, that man, he's going to come back again. Right? Go on.
And that which is done,
And man that died yesterday,
is that which shall be done.
hey, that man's coming back. Don't worry about it. He'll be back. Go on.
And there is no new thing under the sun.
No new man under the sun. Right? When babies are born, you can't say that's a newborn baby. That baby's been here, man. Right? How did this baby seem like you see certain babies, they have tendencies of older people, man. They'll come out and they frowned up, mad, looking at you like, man, here I go again, man.
Some of the babies with the old face.
Yeah, some of the babies got that old face, man. Certain babies, they have like a high level of common sense and old souls. You see people with an old soul, man. Like 12 years old and they act like an old man. Because they've been here before, man.
12 going on 72.
Yeah, I've seen online they have like celebrities of like the ancient version of them.
Come.
Compare the pictures of
Yeah, yep.
Like Pharrell, they had like a Pharrell one.
Snoop Dogg.
Jay-Z.
Yeah, Jay-Z, yep.
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen. Yeah, looking like a Gadite, man. They do, because these men are back on the earth. Right? Same spirit, but a similar body. Alright? It's not going to be the exact same body, but a similar body, because this is your genes, your genealogy. Alright? You're going to come back. If you're an Israelite, you're not going to come back as you wasn't an Edomite. Don't worry about that. Was I an Edomite 2,000 years ago? What's going to happen when I come back?
You gonna try to get in Israel next time.
Yeah, you can't. Ain't no hope in that, man. You're going to remain in your bloodline. Alright? So man is constantly going to come back on the earth. That makes sense, everybody? Let's go to Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. Right? Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and 15.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 15. That which hath been is now.
Same thing. That which has been is now. Right?
And that which is to be have already been. And Yahweh requireth that which is past.
God requires you to come back on the earth. Right? Babies come back and they crying. Why are babies crying? Right? Because their spirit is so close to the heavens, man. Now they got to come back on this earth, man. Right? They can't move how they used to move. Right? They subject to this body. They can't control it. They can't verbally communicate what they want, man. They in hell, They looking up at you like, what the heck, man? So the way you come out is the way you come in is the way you go out, man. That's why when you see babies, they have the same tendencies as older people. Like you ever see somebody senile with Alzheimer's? You gotta change their diaper. They put their head in the oven. You gotta watch them because they can't cross the street like a baby, man. That's what the Lord said. He requires that which is past. So when you become older, it is required for you to experience the same tendencies and behavior you had in the ancient times and even in your youth.
Now you touched on what I was about to say.
Come. So that these things are required of us, man. So you can't fight that. That's why the Lord said, neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. You can't say I want to be 95 years old and not have osteoporosis or not have my mind be alienated from who I am. Let's go to 2 Samuel 19 and 35. Right? You have to go through these things, man. It is required. It's mandatory. It's divine law for man to experience what has been in time past. All right? 2 Samuel 19. Let's read about this man. Right? 2 Samuel 19 and 35.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 19 in verse 35. I am this day fourscore years old.
Right, this man told David, I'm 80 years old.
And can I discern between good and evil?
Like a baby. He was old and he couldn't discern between good and evil. He's on his way out. Can your child discern between good and evil? No, your child that's 2 months old, he don't know what's going on. Right? Go on.
Can I serve it taste what I eat or what I drink?
Right, he can older people, you gotta chew up their food for them, man. You know? Or put it in the blender. Everything's soft and mushy. Right? Because you lose your sense of taste, your senses of hearing. Go on.
Can I hear any more the voice of singing men and singing women?
Now this is the age of 80. You see old people with the trumpet in their ear. Right? What did you say? Huh? You know you gotta repeat something to your great grandfather 5 times, man. Right? Go on.
Whereof then should thy servant be yet a burden unto my lord the king.
So he felt like he would be a burden, like a baby. If you give a brother a whole bunch of children to watch, it may be a burden, man. I gotta deal with it. They don't know what's going on. They can't look out for themselves. You know, they have no discernment. So older people, man, like people that work in these retirement homes, a lot of them, they be beating up these old people, man. They initially come in with good intentions. I want to help the elderly, right? My grandfather was elderly and nobody was there for him. I want to work in a retirement home. Then they start to lose patience. You see the videos. Y'all seen that video with that brother beating up that old Edomite? He was going to work, man. Yeah, he was going to work on that, man. Right? Because they lose patience. And now these older people become a burden to them, man. They be biting. You know, my sister, an older man, bit off her finger, man. You know? So they don't know what's going on, man. Might have thought that she was lunch meat or whatever. These older people, they, you know, but the Lord requires that, man. Like babies don't pull your beard. An older man might pull your beard, man. Won't let it go. You know? The Lord requires that. That's what it means. The Lord requires that which is past.
Salakia. At camp yesterday was an old woman, right? She was acting like a damn child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She would bring that out.
Yeah. She was a little.
Yeah.
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 Gotta come to camp, man.
Yeah. A lot of stuff you don't see.
There's a lot of stuff you don't see at camp, man.
She stopped in the middle of the scripture coming out like your flies open.
Yeah, she was going off, man.
Yeah.
It was bad. She said, I'm sorry, I'm lusting. Right? Looking at Orion. You know? She fell away lusting. And it was more to that story, because you gotta come to camp. Right? So let's go back. Brother, you got a question in the back? Okay, come. So let's go back to let's get an example of this. Let's go to St. John chapter 9 and 1. Let's get an example in the Bible of a man going through regeneration. Let's get a fundamental concept of this in St. John chapter 9 and verse 1. All right, let everybody get there. Brother, you there in the back, brother? Okay, come. Right? John 9 and 1. All right. Come.
The book of John, chapter 9 and verse 1. And as Yahushua passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth.
Right? This man was born blind.
His disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?
Right, so this man committed a sin and he was born blind. Does that make sense? How can you be born blind because you committed a sin? What'd you say, brother? There you go, brother. Brother on the money, man. Sharp. That brother's on fire, man. Right? See that? So the only reason that this man could have been born blind is if he committed sins in his past life. That's what he said. What sin did this man do in order for him to be born blind? Right? Does that make sense? That register? Right? That makes sense? All right? Come on. A lot of people, they get that, they say, well, I don't understand. Right? A lot of people don't understand. What way can you be born blind unless something happened to you in time past?
With some new eyes.
Right. So what sin did him to be born blind? Let's read on.
Yahushua answered, neither had this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of Yahweh should be made manifest in him.
Right, meaning there was no exact sin. He's not the kind of God that was born blind because of his sins. Usually they are. That's what he's saying. But the Lord said this man is a little bit different. This man was born blind that the works of God can be made manifest in him. Right. Right, so like when he would heal him, everybody would believe on the Most High. That's why he was born blind. So when Yahweh Shah would heal him, people can see the works of the Most High and believe in Yahweh Shah. Alright? So certain people, don't you try to figure out why they have physical ailments, it's not always because they have sinned. Sometimes it's that a man may heal them, and somebody may look at that healing and believe in Yahweh that gave him power to heal. Alright? So that's why that man was born blind. And he had to live his whole life not understanding why he was blind. Probably questioning the Most High, a lack of faith, didn't know what was going on, right? So we can go. Was there more of that? That's it on that. All right, let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 9 and 27. All right. So we go and understand that when you die, you come back on the earth. But immediately after you die, what happens to your spirit? First, go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 6. Let's read 6 and 7. Right? Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Let's read 6 through 7.
The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 6. Or ever the silver cord be loose, or the gold bowl, so like it be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern.
I mean the strength, right? When those things are taken out, when everything's said and done, go on.
Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was.
So when a golden bowl is broken, when man dies, when his strength and his wealth is gone, his silver cord is we have a cord that's used to strengthen something, to attach it to something, right? So when your silver cord is cut, when your life is diminished, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was. Meaning your body decomposes and goes back to the earth, right? The elements in your body are the same elements found in the earth. That's why you have potassium in your body, carbon. These different things are the same things that are found in the elements of the earth, right? Then you have lead, right? Don't you have lead in your system? You get it from the earth. So then shall the dust return to the earth as it was.
And the spirit shall return unto Yahweh who gave it.
So what happens to your spirit? Does it go to a place of hell? No, it goes back to God, man. So when you die and give up the ghost, your spirit returns back to the Most High. Regardless of what life you have lived. Whether you was wicked or you was righteous, your spirit goes straight back up to the Most High. Alright? Let's get the book of Hebrews chapter 9.
Hebrews.
Let's go to Job first. Job chapter 3, and let's read 12 through 16. You got second level? 14?
Job 3 and verse 12. Why did the knees prevent me? Or why the breast that I should suck?
Meaning, how come I wasn't killed in the womb? Right? Go on.
For now should I have lied still and been quiet. I should have slept, then had I been at rest.
Right?
With kings and counselors of the earth.
I wish I was dead like ancient kings and wise counselors in the ancient world. Go on.
Which built desolate places for themselves.
Right?
Or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver.
Right? You had princes in the time past who filled their houses with silver. Job said, I wish I was dead like these men. Because Job was going through hell. Right? Go on.
Or as a hidden untimely birth. I had not been as infants which never saw light.
Like a miscarriage or a stillborn, Job wish he went through that. Go on.
There the wicked cease from troubling.
Hold on, read that again.
There the wicked cease from troubling.
There is a what? A location. If I say, brother, meet me over there, what is that talking about, brother? A specific place, right? So there's a specific place where the wicked don't trouble the righteous. What place is that? The spirit world. Everybody goes up to the spirit world, right? There the wicked cease from troubling.
And there the weary be at rest.
The weary are the Israelites. We're at rest in the spirit world. We don't have to worry about work and oppression and slavery. Go on.
There the prisoners rest together, They hear not the voice of the oppressor.
Right?
The small and great are dead,
The small and great are there.
and the servant is free from his master.
So there is the spirit world. Everybody goes there. The wicked are there, the righteous, the small, and the great. They're all up there in the spirit world. Alright? So there's no actual place called hell under the earth where you go and you're tormented with fire forever and ever. Now that doesn't mean you're not going to get punished. And you can get away with your wickedness, but there's no account of that in the Bible. That goes back to Greek mythology. Right? The concept of hell goes back to the Greek mythology. That's when you remember when you was young, you had Hercules, the Disney movie, like the brother said, Hades, right? Or the Romans still call him Pluto, which is the god of the underworld, right? That's not in the Bible. There's no underworld, right? All you have is the grave, and that's it. Then your spirit go up to the Most High. We read that in Ecclesiastes 12:7, right? When the golden bowl is broken, when the strength is deprived of man, he goes back to the dust, and his spirit returns to the Most High who gave it, right? Let's go to Hebrews 9:27. Then Gabar got a precept.
Hebrews 9:27. And as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment.
Right, you don't die, you don't have 9 lives like a cat, right? You die once and that's it. It's appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. So what happens when you die? Your spirit goes up there to the Most High, and then what happens? You get your judgment based off of what you have done on the earth. Go to Revelation 14 and 13. So you don't just die and go up to the spirit world and you just hanging out. Like we said with Biggie and Tupac, you know, and the Beatles. The Lord not dealing with that, man. All right, you die, and after this, the judgment. Because there's something that happens. Go to Revelation 14 and 13. All right, let me see everybody get there. Everybody there, Revelation chapter 14. Sometimes we go fast. Try to slow down a little bit. Last book of the Bible. All right. Everybody there? Colin?
Revelations chapter 14 and verse 13. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth.
Blessed are the dead that die in the Lord from henceforth.
Yea, saith the spirits, that they may rest from their labors.
Like in the book of Job, and what?
And their works do follow them.
So what follows you when you go up to the spirit world? The angels want to bring an account of all of your works. That's why it says after you die, you have the judgment. The judgment is based off of the works that follow you. Right? The angel carry your spirit up there to the spirit world. Then another angel comes up before the Most High and says, here's the works of Ezra. Here's the works that he has done when he was righteous. Here's the wicked works that he has done. And the Lord looks at all of your works, and you get judged based off of the works that you do. That's what, then if you was wicked, you might be born blind. That's what he said, what did this man do? That he was born blind. Right? Because his works that follow him may have been wicked. That's what they assumed. Alright? So your works follow you, and then you receive your judgment. Alright? You gotta go, Mark.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 17. All flesh waxeth old as a garment, for the covenant from the beginning is, thou shalt die to death.
Right?
As of the green leaves on a thick tree, some fall and some grow. So is the generation of flesh and blood, one cometh to an end and another is born.
So that's the generation, man. Like leaves shed their trees. A tree shed their leaves and they come back every year. That's the generation of man, right? One generation is born, another generation dies. So right now, this is the last generation on the earth, right? And this is the exact same generation that was here when Yahushua was here. Right? When Yahushua walked the earth 2,000 years ago, throughout Galilee, Nazareth, Jerusalem, those same individuals that were there with Yahushua, they're here now. Whether they're in this room or strung out on Penn North, they was here with the Lord. Whether they were wicked with the Lord or righteous with the Lord. Let's go to Luke 21 and 29. Right? Luke chapter 21 and 29. So you die, you receive the judgment, right? And then you come back on the earth and live out your judgment. That's why certain people are born with one arm, right? Oh, that's a birth defect. Right? No, that's judgment, man. You know? You're born in this truth. That's judgment, man. That's a righteous judgment.
Someone in the comments board said it's a science to being born blind.
You see that?
That's judgment.
Yeah. The Esau always has to have an answer for everything. He wants to kind of usurp authority over the Lord said this. No. Because Esau don't believe in spirits, man. Right? I tell you that in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. You know what they believe when you die? Let's get that. Before we get that real quick, let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 2, real quick. This is what the so-called white man believes. So when it comes to the life after death, he don't have the answers. Right? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 2, and we can actually read the first 3 verses. Right? Let's read that in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, right before Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, and we can read 1 through 3.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 1. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright.
I mean, these are the thoughts of Esau, but they're not right. Right? This is what he thinks about, but they're wicked thoughts. He's wrong when it concerns life after death.
Our life is short and tedious, and in death of a man there is no remedy, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave.
So they don't believe in a regeneration. They don't believe in a resurrection. Right? That's why they live out their life in wickedness, man. Because they believe that they're not going to get punished for it. Go on.
For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been, for the breath in our nostril is as smoke, and a little spark in the morning of our heart.
And the movement of our heart, right?
Excuse me. Which being extinguished, our bodies shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as the soft air.
So they believe when you die, your spirit just vanishes. You can do all you want to do on the earth, and after that, your spirit just slowly just fades away like smoke. And there's no judgment coming for you. Well, the Lord didn't say that, man. Right? The Lord said, after this, the judgment. So that's why Esau does the things that he does. That's why he said there's a science to being born blind. Right? Esau believed you can be born gay. Right? You know? The Lord not dealing with that, man. So let's go back to, what do we have? Luke 21 and 29. To what? Luke chapter 21 and 29. Let's deal with it. All right, this is the last generation. Hey, the 12 apostles that walk with the Lord, they may be in this room, man. All right? Judas, Lord forbid that he's in this room, man. Right? Luke 21 and 29.
Luke chapter 21 and verse 29. And he spake to them a parable. Behold, a fig tree, and all the trees, when they now shoot forth, yea, see, and now of your own selves, that summer is nigh at hand.
Right, you believe that summer is coming when you see trees growing on, leaves growing on trees. Right, go on.
So likewise ye, when you see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of Yahweh is nigh at hand.
So when you see the prophecies that are listed earlier in this chapter come to pass, that's the same way that you will see a tree blossoming and bringing forth leaves and fruit. All right?
Verily I say to you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled.
See, hold on. Read that again one more time.
Verily I say to you,
This is what the Lord told them 2,000 years ago.
this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled.
What does that mean? He said they're not going to die till everything is fulfilled. Right, it means the exact same people are here today. Otherwise, there will be men on the earth that's 2,000 years old, walking up and down. Right? He said that generation that lived in that time is not going to pass away till all things are done and fulfilled. So that must mean that same generation is back on the earth now. And those prophecies are being fulfilled in this life that are listed in that same chapter. That makes sense, brother? All right? That makes sense, Akim? Right? The Lord said that that generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. So when things are fulfilled, it'll be when the second coming of Yahushua is established.
So would that be what the everlasting life is then? Just the regeneration?
You'll keep regenerating unless you're part of this generation. Right? You're the elect in this generation, you're going to live forever. Right? That's what the Lord said. Let's go to Matthew 16 and 28. Right? Let's go to Matthew 16 and 28. That's what the Lord said. He that believeth in me hath everlasting life, and shall not taste of death.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 28. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death, till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
See that? He told them, hey, certain man right here, look, you're going to be here till I return. Now, again, there's no man that's 2,000 years ago, 2,000 years old on the earth. He's speaking about how they will come back on the earth and still be here. All right, that's what he's speaking about. All right. Otherwise, if that was literal, again, that'll be a sight to see, man. Right? They'll be all over the news.
Right.
These men, they'll be on Good Morning America. They'll be on The View. Right? You got these old men that's 2,000 years old, man. Right? They've got interviews and people want to take pictures with them and they have their own island. Right? That's not what he's talking about.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds,
Yahushua is coming with clouds, which are the chariots. Go on.
and every eye shall see him,
Everybody's going to see the chariots.
and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, amen.
The Lord said the same people that killed him and pierced him in his side are going to see him return. How is that going to happen? Those same people are here, man.
Right.
The same men that delivered up the Lord and crucified him, and the Romans, they're still here. Pontius Pilate, King Herod, right? Joseph of Arimathea, John the Baptist, Peter, all of those men. Now, do we know who those men are? Can I say, brother, they're John the Baptist, man. We've been waiting on you, brother. Come on up here, brother. Right? Can we say that? Hey, Peter, man. Hey, when you remember you chopped off that dude's ear? And he said, yeah, that was crazy, man. Right? Do you remember who you were back in time past? Right? Let's get the precept. Let's prove it. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 1. Let's read 11. Right?
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 11. There is no remembrance of former things.
Hold on, read that again.
There is no remembrance of former things.
There's no remembrance of former things.
Neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after.
And neither do you know what's going to happen in your future life. You can't say, man, I can't wait, man, till I'm born again, man. I'm going to be born good, man. I'll be cool. Right? This life was all right, but next time is going to be better. Right? I already know where I'm going to be at. I'm going to be 10'2", and I'm going to have this mansion. Now that you remember the things that have been before. You had a question, brother?
I was about to say, why ain't going when I'm talking about baby and all that?
That links up with that, brother. Right? That's a glimpse of you, your spirit coming out the flesh and kind of remembering things that were in time past, but you can't put it together. Right? Your flesh is weighing against your spirit. You know, your flesh is experiencing these things and it's stirring up your spirit to try to remember things that can't be, man. Right? You got to go ahead, brother.
I'll be honest, I don't think I would want to know. I mean, we've been through some things back then.
Right.
I don't even think I would want to even go through it.
Right. You wouldn't. No, man, that's when the Lord took it away. Imagine you remembered you on a plantation. You was with the Lord, right? You got delivered up. You remember all of your deaths and the pain and the suffering.
That's terrible.
You'll bug out, man. You'll go crazy. They'll put you in a nut house, man. Right? You're holding on to memories for 8,000 years, 6,000 years, man. Your wives that you had, your children that got snatched away, the love of your life in your third life, right? Your wife in your fifth life, You know, the animal sacrifice, you forgot to bring your 10th life. The repentance and trying to get on fire, and that wasn't how it was 4 lives ago. Look, man would bug out, man.
It's something like Alzheimer's. You just
Yeah.
lose it.
And that's what the Lord said, I gotta take that away from man.
And Salaki, it can put a proud spirit on you too.
Right.
I walk with the Lord. I'm the 144.
Right.
I'm an apostle.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that
Jake
could.
is simple.
Yeah.
You don't even know that.
Yeah, Jacob said, look, man, don't you know I'm Peter? Shut the hell up, man. I'm Peter, man. Right? Read first me and second me. Right? I'm right after my man James, man. Yeah, that's all of us said. First me and second me, man.
Read about it.
Yeah.
They say learn about me.
Yeah, that's off, man. It's my epistle. Yeah, that is true. Devil put a very proud spirit on Jake, man. Depression, pride. Jake might be wicked, man. Yeah, I was wicked. Now, F it, man. I'm gonna keep being wicked, man. Yeah, I'm Judas. Alright, I ain't make it that time. I got something this time for y'all niggas, man. Right? Hey, Judas, it'll be a lot of madness going on, man. Right? It'll be a lot. That's what the Lord said. There is no remembrance of former things. So no man remembers anything of their past life, man. But what we do know is that we're that same generation that was here in time past. Rather, if you follow the Lord now, you followed the Lord back then. All right, let's get that in John. Yeah,
That's what I was about to get.
Come
Good to know.
on. But you don't know your latter end. Because Judas followed the Lord, and in the last end, Satan entered into him.
It's the book of 1 John, chapter 1 and verse 1. That which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes,
See, we've seen Yahweh Shah with our eyes, because he's from the beginning.
which we have looked upon,
We looked upon the Lord,
and our hands have handled the word of life.
and certain men state like Thomas, he touched the Lord. Certain men have actually hugged the Lord. The woman held on to his garment. Martha hugged on to his feet at the resurrection. Certain men have actually handled Yahweh Shah, the word of life. Right? That's what the Lord said. Well, go to John 10 and 27. Right? If you believe in the Lord now, you believed in the Lord 2,000 years ago, man. If you were a scoffer, you were a scoffer 2,000 years ago. If you were a drunkard, hey, you was a drunkard 2,000 years ago, man. Right? Let's bring that up.
It's the book of John, chapter 10 and verse 27. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish. Neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand.
So that's why when this truth comes out, like, oh man, that makes so much sense, man. Yeah, that we the Israelites, and Most High, he's a so-called black man, and oh, that's Esau. Why does that same voice is coming back in your mind that you heard back then? You hear that same voice, and it's familiar to you, right? That's when the truth resonates with you. You don't have to break it down and get real deep and do a big mathematical equation to prove that we the Israelites. All you need is about 10 words. Oh yeah, okay, I'm an Israelite. And it's like you had this your whole time. Like it was here and somebody took it away and you got it back. That's because you hear the voice of the Lord, man. And it's stirring up your mind. Let's get that in 2 Peter 3 and 1. It's stirring up your mind. You know? Everybody who's in this truth, it makes sense to you. It's perfect. There's no fault in it. There's no blemish in it. Alright?
It's the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, and both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance.
You see that? The Lord, this word is to stir up your mind. Don't you remember that you're an Israelite? Don't you remember that you got to be righteous? Right? Don't you remember that you got to be diligent? Right? Like in the book of Jude, it says, though you once knew this. Right? Everything we know now, we used to know. Yahweh Shai, the parables, the breakdowns, the prophecies, the curses. That was common knowledge. But now we have to stir up our mind to remember. You know, like somebody that has Alzheimer's, they go through certain procedures and certain skilled learning to try to stir up their mind to remember the things that they once knew. And that's the purpose of the breakdowns in the scriptures and the spirit, is to stir up our pure minds so we can remember the things in time past.
I got a precept. It's the book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 16. Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened. and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name.
You see that? So there's a book of remembrance written for all those that believe in the Most High. All of your names are in there, man. If you're part of the elect. Right? Most High willing, our names are in there, man. For those that fear the Lord. So when spirits come back on the earth, the Lord said, oh, those are the men that was talking with the Lord. Look, let me give those men back eternal life. Right? Rather you come into the truth at the age of 30, or you come in when you're 15, it don't matter. You were still with the Lord. That's why it says in Luke 21 that this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. All right, let's go to 2nd Ezra 14 and 34. Out of the Apocrypha. And that red book them Christians don't like. You keep reading out that red book, right?
What is that?
Right. Is that part of the Bible? Right? Yes, it's part of the Bible. 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and 34.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 34. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding, and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death ye shall obtain mercy.
Right?
For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again, and then shall the names of the righteous be made manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared.
That's plain upon tables. The Lord says, after death we shall live again. You see that? When you die, you live again. The names of the righteous are manifest. Oh, those are the apostles back on the earth. That's manifest. It's plain. Look at their works. Look at their behavior. Right? Look at their diligence. Oh, that's the ungodly. These are declared. It's manifest who's the ungodly. When you manifest something, you expose it that everybody may see. Right? It's plain. Right? It's evident when something's made manifest. So the works of the ungodly are declared. You see how people on crack, heroin, scoffing, that Bible's the white man's book. Right? We're not no Israelite. Well, the Lord manifests that these men are born again, that their works can be declared, that, hey, look, these may be the ungodly. You know?
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 16 and verse 13. When Hamashiach came unto the coast of Cyrene, Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?
There was a lot of talk about who is this man doing these miracles. Yahushua said, well, what's going on? What's the word going around town? Who do men say that I am?
And they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist.
Some say you're John the Baptist.
Some Elijah.
Somebody said he's Elijah. How could they say that the Lord is Elijah when Elijah already died? Supposedly. Right? Went into the spirit world. Right? How could they say he's Elijah or what?
And others Jeremiah.
How could he be Jeremiah? Right? Or what?
Or one of the prophets.
Hey, is that Obadiah? When they looked at the Lord, the house, is that Micah? That might be Jeremiah, because that man is mighty, man. Or maybe that's Ezekiel. Habakkuk. Haggai. Right? There was Zacharias. They didn't know who he was. Some people didn't know. Right? But when you read the rest of that chapter, Peter said, look, that's Hamashiach Yahushua, the Son of the living God. You know? So these things are revealed by the Spirit. And he told Peter, flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but by my Father which is in heaven. Then the Spirit is going to resonate that Yahushua is Hamashiach. Alright? So after you die, what happens, brother?
You go to the spirit world.
And then what happens after that?
You come back.
No, you're missing a step. What you got?
Judgment.
The judgment. Then what?
And then you come back.
Right, then you come back. Alright, so that's the process. You die, your body decomposes. You go up to the third heaven, the spirit world. You receive your judgment off of the works that followed you, and you come back on the earth. Now we're going through examples of regeneration in the Bible. Right? What you got?
I got some.
We're gonna pull John the Baptist. We're gonna pull other accounts of men being born again. Right? Malachi 4 and 5. What you got, bro? Got a question?
So what if your judgment was bad? What is that? So
what if your judgment was bad?
yeah, what if your judgment was bad? Like, so let's say you do get blind. Is there a way you can
Reverse your judgment?
well, not reverse, no. Like hear the truth again and get back into the truth.
It depends on your judgment. And we all have a lot that we were given set up from the foundation of the world. Right? So it all depends on your lot. You have men that are perpetually blind, and they have to deal with that to the day of judgment. Right? You have men that are born blind that they can be healed. So it all depends on the will and the purpose of the Most High. Now we can't say, well, look, this brother, he's a 2/3. He's not going to make it. Look at him on crack. And well, we might have been on crack, right? And the Lord brought us out of that.
That's why
Right? I mean, we literally wasn't on crack, but what I'm saying is brothers was in sin. Yo, Jacob started scoffing. Right. Ex-crackheads. Keep breaking the scriptures down. They trying to teach the word. Wasn't you on crack?
Right.
Now, brothers was on crack in the truth now, but they came out of it. All right? They came out of it. Right? And if you was and you came out of it, don't be ashamed of that, brother. We all came out and we all came out in different sense, man. You know? What you got, brother?
Precept, bro.
Come on, you got a precept?
1917 verse 11.
Oh, we're going to get to that. You jumping the gun, King. Brother, jumping the gun. We're going to get to that, John the Baptist.
You got the pistol.
Come on.
I got it.
All right, let's get that. Malachi 4.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord.
Right?
And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children.
So the Lord said he's going to send Elijah. Now, Elijah already gave up the ghost by the time of Malachi. Right? Malachi's around the end of or the middle of the Persian captivity. And he said, I will send Elijah the prophet before the dreadful day of the Lord. He's going to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers.
Lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
Meaning, before I destroy the earth, I'm going to send this man. Right? Before I smite the earth with the chariots and the missiles, I'm going to send Elijah. Right? Now, Elijah came on the earth. Elijah came on the earth as everybody know of John the Baptist, right? John the Baptist is Elijah. Okay? We're going to prove that. First, let's go to Luke 1. Let's get the birth. Luke 1 and 16. Right? The book of St. Luke, chapter 1 and 16.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 16. And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their God.
That's the fulfillment of Elijah. The Lord said he was sending Elijah to do that, but how is John the Baptist fulfilling the prophecy of Elijah? Because he is Elijah. That's why it says, many of the hearts of the children shall John the Baptist turn to their God, to the Most High God. That's the same person. Go on.
And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah.
That's plain.
To turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord.
Right, you see that? To get these people ready, that's ready to serve the Lord the right way. That's plain upon tables, like the brother said. He's literally going to have the spirit of Elijah to fulfill the prophecy of Malachi chapter 4 and 5 through 6. All right? Now we had another one. We got the one in Matthew.
Come. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 17.
Well, before we get that one, let's get the one in Matthew 11.
Come.
Right? Because the disciples didn't understand regeneration, but then they end up getting it in Matthew 17.
Come. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 11 and verse 12. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force.
Right, what does that mean? The kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. Right, you're talking about Israel. A lot of people think that there is Michael, the archangel, and God fighting Satan in heaven. There's a war in heaven. The Romans are up there and they're fighting against the Most High. Right? Can you have violence in heaven? No. Right? So it's speaking about we're the kingdom of heaven. Right? And we're being taken by the violent. Who's the violent? The so-called white man. Right?
For all the prophets and the law prophesied unto John. And if ye will receive it, this is Elijah which was for to come.
You see that? If you will receive it. Ezra, what does it mean if you will receive it? Right, if you can understand it, you can get it. Right, because it's not for everybody. Everybody can't receive regeneration. Everybody's not going to register with the fact that you come back on the earth. Certain men are going to say, nah, that don't make sense. That's witchcraft. Right? No, you die and you go to hell. They can't receive it. Right? These are things that the Lord gives to those to whom it was given from the foundation of the world. Part of your lot is to receive certain levels of understanding. The Lord said, I'm going to create this spirit to receive regeneration. This spirit is not going to receive it. Right? This person, he's going to receive it, but he's going to lose it. Right? God, you can receive something and still lose it too, man. Right? You watch sports, people catch the ball, they may have it, then they lose it. right?
Derrick Rose spirit.
Yeah, that Derrick Rose.
Yeah, come.
That fourth quarter, catch the ball and fumble, man. It's like it, King. Hold on, let me finish real quick. You get the ball on the 4th and goal, 4th and inches, you know?
Catch the ball,
You,
jumping in.
yeah, you catch it, you try to jump over it, and then you done lost the ball, man. You know? What you about to say, King? Delonte West. And he's a sad story now. Yeah, you know, the so-called white man found him on the streets, man, dancing for money.
They said they tried to help him a few times, too.
Yeah, he don't want it, man. And I believe Delonte West, he was a known adulterer. Didn't he do something with LeBron James' mother?
I think so.
See that? So the Lord jacked him up, man. How you gonna deal with your same teammate's mother, man? You know, so the Lord not dealing with that, man. All right,
Wicked.
so let's read that again, Baba Kashab. Well, did we read
Go back to John.
let's read that 11. Matthew 11.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 11, and verse 12. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent taketh it by force.
Right.
For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you will receive it, this is Elijah, which was for to come.
Does everybody receive that?
No.
You know, this in the room.
Yeah, in the room, yeah.
Everybody receive it? Brother, you receive it? Brothers receive it in the back? Right? Everybody receive it, man. Right? Brother, you receive it in the black jacket? There you go. Everybody receive it, man. Most I willing everybody alive receive that John the Baptist is Elijah.
That's right.
Which was for to come.
Mm-hmm.
Come. No, come.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 17, and verse 10. And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elijah must first come?
So that time they didn't. Now this 6 chapters after Matthew 11. So when the Lord told them, they didn't get it. They said, I don't know what that means. That one went over their head like the bed when they was under it. They didn't get it, man. So the Lord had to tell them again. Right? He had to say, look, hey, let's read that again.
And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elijah must first come?
Why does Malachi say that Elijah is going to come?
And Hamashiach answered and said unto them, Elijah truly shall come, so first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elijah is come already, and they knew him not, but they done unto him whatsoever they listed.
So they killed John the Baptist, right?
Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist.
Now they got it. At first they didn't receive it. Then the Lord had to break it down to them the second time. Now they understood that John the Baptist was Elijah. Right? It's telling you plain.
Right.
It's plain, but it's not plain to everybody. Right? What's plain to you, brother, may not be plain to the next man. That's why you try to break down the truth to your family, they can't get it. Right? You're trying to break down, you're trying to break down that we Israelites and that the kingdom of heaven's for us and God only dealing with us, and they can't receive it. It doesn't pertain unto them.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 104 and verse 29.
Let's start at 20.
Verse 20. Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth.
Now the Lord is about to give you a list of creatures, right? Nocturnal creatures that come out at night like owls and different creeping things. Go on.
The lion roareth after the prey and seeketh their meat from God.
See, lions believe that they get food and nourishment from God. All animals are created to believe in the Most High. You don't have atheist animals, man. Lions seek their meat from God. Go on.
The sun ariseth after they gather themselves together and lay them down in their dens.
Right.
Man goeth forth unto his work and is a labor until the evening.
So man does his work. Lions are doing their work. Nocturnal creatures. All of these creatures are laboring.
O Lord, how manifold are thy works, and wisdom hast thou made them all.
Right.
The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein all creepy innumerable, both small and great beasts.
So even in the sea, you have an innumerable amount of creatures. That's why the so-called white man always says, look what we discovered at the bottom of an ocean. Right? Look at this new thing. Because there are an infinite amount of creatures that you can't number in the ocean. Right?
There go the ships. There is that Leviathan.
There go Leviathan.
Whom thou hast made to play therein.
Right?
It says, these wait all upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season.
Man waits for the harvest. Lions wait for the God to provide that antelope for him. The wild shark, he waits for the fish so he can eat it. Everything is waiting for the hand of the Lord to supply their needs. Right?
That thou mayest give them their gather. Thou openest thy hand, they are filled with good.
The Lord filled them with food and they're filled with good.
Thou hidest thy face, they are
The
troubled.
Lord hide his face from beast and man is like, well, what do I do? I'm starving. It's a famine, because that's the Lord hiding his blessings from me. Right?
Thou takest away their breath, they
The
die.
Lord take away the breath of lions, creeping things at night, sea creatures, even man. The Lord take away his breath, you die. Go on.
They return to their dust.
So what happens after these things return to the dust? What happens to the spirit? Right? They go up to the spirit world. We're going to read about that.
Thou sendest forth thy
They
spirit.
go up to the spirit world. Go on.
They are created,
And the Lord send them back down and they're created again. Lions, beasts, man.
and thou renewest the face of the earth.
You see that? The Lord said all of these creatures, they die. They go up to the spirit world. The Lord sent forth their spirit back on the earth and he renewed the face of the earth. Right? So the same lions are the same lions again, man. Same beasts are the same beasts again, man. Right? The same tiger's the same tiger that was here. They had a movie about a dog that was here on the earth plenty of times, man. I can't think of the name of a movie. A Dog's Life. There you go. The brother on fire back there, man. Brother, you on fire, brother. Right? So brothers out here breaking it down, man. A Dog's Life. Right? This dog, he had the same mannerisms and had the same relationship with the different odors, man. Right? So even these things are happening amongst the creeping things. Your goldfish you flushed down the toilet, hey, he's coming back. Right? That mice you thought you killed, hey, he came back. He's a pest. He's a nuisance. You know? Let's get that in Ecclesiastes 3. That the movie, Do All Dogs Go to Heaven? Back when we was young, man. Right? So even beasts, they experience the afterlife in a similar fashion to man.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 20. All go into one place.
Let's start at 17.
Verse 17. I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work.
Right?
I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God may manifest them, that they might see themselves are Salakia, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts.
The Lord wanted, Solomon, rather, he wanted the Most High to show that man, you don't have much going on. And all of your wealth and riches and fame you got, the Lord wants you to be shown that you a beast, man. Right? I want the Lord to expose this man. Look, this man's lawless. He's living like a beast. Right? Go on.
Verse 19. For that which befall the sons of men befalleth beasts.
Right. Beasts have dreams, right? Don't you see a dog moving his legs, he having a nightmare? Man, you do the same thing. You got to use the bathroom, your dog got to use the bathroom. You got to reproduce, your dog got to reproduce. You get tired, right? And your dog do that too, man. That which befalleth man befalleth beast.
Even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other.
Both experience death, right?
Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man have no preeminence above a beast for all his vanity.
Right?
All go unto one place.
What's the one place? The spirit world. All go to one place.
All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again.
Right?
Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward?
So the spirit of man goes upward and he's going to get judged for what he has done on the earth.
And the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth.
So the spirit of the beast, it goes up there, but it got to go straight back down. The beast don't have to wait and say, well, look, you lying, he was wicked. I'm going to judge you for eating pork. And you was an adulterer, and you didn't serve me. No, the beast don't got to wait up there, man. Every 3 or 4 generations. We got to get that in Exodus too. The beast don't wait and respect the generations to come back on the earth. The beast immediately comes back on the earth, man. But man, you come back on the earth, but you have to wait a period of time. That's why certain animals, like mice and certain creatures, they breed like 32 at one time, man. Right? Spiders can have like 1,000 eggs, man. Right? Because there's more of them coming back on the earth constantly than man. Right. And man is outnumbered by beasts, man. Them roaches,
Yeah,
bro.
them damn roaches.
You'll get rid of them, King.
Lord willing. It's the book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them.
Right.
For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, upon the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Right, so the Lord said that you can't bow down to other gods nor serve them. He's going to visit your sins upon to you, but upon your generation and your third and fourth generation. So every 3 or 4 generations, you're going to come back on the earth, and the Lord is going to visit you for what you have done in time past. So you are your great-great-great-great-grandfather, right? You are your great-great-great-great-grandmother. And the Lord is going to judge you based off of what you have done every 3 or 4 generations. But beasts, they don't experience that lot. That's not their lot to be judged every 3 or 4 generations. Right? They come back on the earth immediately.
It's the book of Nehemiah, chapter 5 and verse 5. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children, and lo, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants, and some of our daughters are brought into bondage already. Neither is it in our power to redeem them, for other men have our lands and vineyards. Right, so the Lord said, now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren. Right, when you see them pictures, right, of Jake getting burnt alive, getting hung, getting whooped, their back bleeding, and you feel that. It's like your short flesh, man. You can literally cry out, right? And the Lord said, right, it says, our children as their children. When you seeing the children getting sold off, you can physically feel it. Like if you had children, you could feel that happening to you.
Right.
So these things are we visiting through the Spirit because we are our forefathers.
Right. That's right. Excellent point. That's what the Lord said. Let's get Lamentations 5 and 7. Right? Lamentations. Remember, the Lord told them 4,000 years ago in Deuteronomy 28 that your sons and daughters shall be given to another people. Speaking mainly about the so-called white man. Did their sons and daughters be given to another people at that time? No. Now the Lord didn't lie. Their sons and daughters were given to another people, but it happened in the future when they came back on the earth. He said, you're going to go to slavery on ships. They never went to slavery on ships, but he told them, no, you men are going to go to slavery on ships. So when the slave ships came, those were those men coming back on the earth. All of those curses happened to that generation forever. Right?
It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 5, verse 7. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities.
So our fathers went off and sinned and served other gods. And they're dead, but we have to carry on the sins of our fathers. That's why we are our fathers. Alright? And Esau, he likes to say, well, I wasn't there in slavery. I didn't put you in slavery. Why do I have to pay for that? Well, you are your fathers. Right? Esau, you are your slave master. You are your great-great-grandfather. You are Alexander the Great. You are Antiochus Epiphanes IV. You are Herod and Pontius Pilate, man. Tiberius, Nero. You are these men that were here in time past. Right? These presidents are the same Roman emperors that was there years ago, man. Donald Trump is maybe Nero back on. I'm led to believe he is Nero. Right? He may be Nero, you know?
Vladimir Putin and somebody from back there.
Yeah, they all look alike, man. These are the same Caesars of time past.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 11 and verse 28. Judge none blessed before his death, for a man shall be known in his children.
See that? A man shall be known in his children. Right? Meaning, a man is his children. Alright? You are your great-grandfather, brother. Your great-great-great-grandfather. And this chosen generation. Alright? So everybody should understand John the Baptist is Elijah. Alright? Let's get another account. Let's go to the book of Numbers. Let's deal with Numbers 24 and 16. There's plenty of accounts of regeneration in the Bible. Right? We just want to touch on simple ones for now.
24 and 13.
16.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 24 and verse 16. He hath said, which heard the words of God, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty falling into a trance, but having his eyes open.
He fell into a trance with his eyes open. This is a heathen.
I shall see him, but not now.
Who's the help? Yahweh Shai. I'm going to see Yahweh Shai, but not in this life. Right?
I shall behold him, but not nigh.
Right?
There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sleph.
Right. So the Lord said that this man is going to see Yahweh Shai. How is he going to see Yahweh Shai? He's going to come back. Right? And he wished he was an Israelite when you read that. But he said, oh, that I had the lot of the righteous. You know, and that I would have their latter end. But he's going to be raised up and destroyed by the Lord, man. Right? So you have different accounts of regeneration in the Bible. Now it's not going to say, well, a footnote, he's going to be regenerated and come back in the last generation. You got to have discernment to go through it and break it down. Like Revelation 10 with St. John. Let's go to that in Revelation, the 10th chapter. Right? Revelation 10 and 9.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 10 and verse number 9. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey.
Right?
And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter.
Right, and that the book that he ate is this Bible. And why was it bitter and sweet to him? Right? What you say, brother?
It's good. Now, I mean, if I got a precept for it, I'm thinking of pocket, right?
We gotta pull it out. Alright?
Let me see if I can find
Now what you say, brother?
I was gonna say it's because
You gotta speak up, King.
I was gonna say it's because him finding out or knowing like he's an Israelite at first, and then the curse like the blessings, receiving the blessings of it and the curses of it.
In a sense, Khan. In a sense. Right? What you say, King?
So he's gonna realize the good and the bad that comes with it.
There you go. Alright? He's gonna realize when you get this truth and you eat it, you get excited. Right? I'm an Israelite. You calling your uncle, right? You telling your grandma, you know, you putting it on Facebook, you on Twitter, you can't stop watching the videos, right? You lock yourself in the room, you know, they all your favorites, you on social media, you putting that out there, you getting on people, you know. But then again, you being this truth, let's go to Sirach chapter 21 and 12, I believe. Right? Then you come a little more seasoned in this thing. And now it becomes bitter to you. How can the truth become bitter? Your family might start being against you. You might get fired from your job because you're in the truth. And things really ain't what you thought it was, man.
Right.
You know?
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse 12. He that is not wise will not be taught, but there is a wisdom which multiplies bitterness.
There is a wisdom which multiplies bitterness. So the wisdom of the Bible is going to multiply how bitter your life may get sometimes, man. Right? You got something?
Yeah, I got something.
Come on.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
Right? The more you learn that, look, there's a lot of people that's going to die. You may say, well, look, I might die.
Right.
Am I going to make it?
Right.
Is the Lord going to cut me down? Esau's going to make war against us. Is the Lord going to be with me? My woman left me. FEMA camps. Hey, you don't come into the truth and get excited about FEMA camps and concentration camps. Oh, man, they got guillotines, man. How sharp is this? Right? Ain't no man dealing with that, man. That's the last thing with your mind, man. That's the sweet part. But now you got to experience the bitter. There is a wisdom that increases bitterness, man. Right? The more knowledge you increase, a lot of times when you become wiser, the more sorrowful you get. The more you may kind of become lonely. You may want to separate yourself. Because you know, the fools, they always laugh and they don't know what's going
I
on.
was about to say it. And that's why the Lord said a wise man scarcely smiles.
That's right.
Because when you're looking around, there really ain't nothing to smile about, man.
Right.
The conditions we living in, all hell breaking loose, you know?
That's right. That's why in Ecclesiastes, well, I'm going to pull this up, but you got it, bro.
It's Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 13. My son, eat thou honey because it is good, and the honeycomb which is sweet to thy taste. So shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul. When thou hast found it, then there shall be a reward, and thy expectation shall not be cut off.
All right, that's not talking about eating actual honeycomb. Right? That's speaking about this truth. This truth is the honeycomb. It's sweet to your soul. Right? It's sweet to your knowledge and understanding. But also, it's bitter. You know, it has that aftertaste. right? That you got to get to, like, damn, I didn't know that was going to be part of it. You know, something with that aftertaste to kind of catch you off guard. That's how it is to man's life in the truth. These things fall upon him unexpectedly, man. But you guess what? You got to deal with it. You can't say, well, that's bitter, I don't want it no more. You have to absorb it. And that's become your new favorite thing to eat, man. You know? A part of this truth is long-suffering. But, you know, we can go into that for a whole another lesson. Right? So we can go back to Revelation chapter 10.
I'm going to read 10 and 10. It's the book of Revelation chapter 10 and verse 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up. And it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter.
Right? His belly meaning his mind. Your belly is really your mind. Right? Kids say, well, this is my belly. No, your belly is this. Right? Because remember, we can feeding you a honeycomb. So the honeycomb that you receive is not going to go to your physical belly, but to your spiritual belly, your spiritual mind. Right? That makes sense, brothers? So when you receive the knowledge and understanding, the bread, the meat, it goes straight here. You have to digest it and break it down. You know? You can bring it up. Alright? So you eating off the Lord's table, but again, it goes, see, that's what the Lord said, he that believeth in me, in St. John 7 and 38, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Certain brothers believe that's your actual belly in Israel, man. And he waiting for that thing to happen. Right?
It's the book of Job, chapter 15 and verse 2. Shall a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind?
Right, meaning false doctrine. Fill your mind with doctrines and lies. Right? So that's what the Lord is saying.
Verse 11 in Revelation, chapter 10 and verse 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings.
So he told John, I believe John was about the age of 96 during this time. He told John that he's going to prophesy again before many nations, peoples, tongues, and kings. Alright? Now when did that happen in John's life? Well, John, if you know the history of Revelation, he was exiled to the Isle of Patmos, which is a prison camp off the coast of Asia Minor, or Turkey. And there's no account of John getting up at the age of 96, fighting this court case against the Romans. They said, look, you can get off the Isle of Patmos. And John said, okay, now it's time for me to remember what the Lord told me in Revelation. No. All right, it's speaking about what John would do when he came back on the earth. All right? So regeneration, again, is what happens when you die, King. What happens first? To your body. Your body go to the ground. Then what happened after that, King? Go to the spirit world. What's after that? You face the judgment based off of your works. And then what happens? And then after that?
You live out your judgment.
And then after that, brother? There you go, brother. Complete the process. You die again, right? But not in this time. You're going to have men that's going to be immortal, man. Right? Men are going to be immortal in this life. The Lord said in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and 15, for righteousness is immortal. Right? What you got, King?
So, 2/3 that's going to die, they're going to come back.
They going to come back as your children.
With the immortal body. With the immortal body.
With the immortal body.
So, really and truly, no one perish, but just live out the judgment.
You live out your judgment. That's why it says all Israel shall be saved. All right?
Portion of hell too, that you get your hell hit.
Right.
You get your hell while you hit. You know how it falls
I
out.
I just think of a crazy scenario of two people come together with like crazy birth defects and health issues, and they create a baby.
Right.
And they got like 2 legs, no body.
Right.
Like, where did that come from?
That's just the effects of their judgment coming back on the earth. Right? Because that offspring that they produced, may even be a more wicked one than their parents, man. For them to have the double judgment. The Lord has double judgment in the Bible. Let's get after you get what you get, we're gonna go to Jeremiah 17 and 18.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4 and verse 1. Better is it to have no children and to have virtue, for the memorial thereof is immortal, because it is known with God and with men. When it is present, men take example at it, and when it is gone, they desire it. It weareth a crown and trumpet forever, having gotten the victory, striving for the undefiled rewards. But the multiplying broad of the ungodly,
meaning your offspring of the wicked, right?
shall not thrive.
Because you can't thrive with one body. I mean, one, you got your torso. They had a TV show back in the day called the Oblongs? You remember that? They had men walking around with one arm and a dude with one eye, and that's the multiplying broad of the ungodly, man. Right? Hopping around. Right?
Nor take deep rooting from bastard slips, nor lay any fast foundation.
See that? So people, that's to answer your question, brother. A lot of that, and we go to 17 in the 3rd chapter real quick. Wisdom of Solomon 3 and 17. Right? Wisdom of Solomon 3 and 17.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 17. For though they live long, yet shall they be nothing regarded, and their last age shall be without honor. Or if they die quickly, they have no hope, neither comfort in that day of trial. For the honorable is the end of the righteous.
16, Salakia.
Verse 16. As for the children of adulterers, they shall not come to their perfection, and the seed of the unrighteous bed shall be rooted out.
See that? The seed, the offspring of an unrighteous bed is going to be rooted out. Right? So what you have, brother, in the back, young man? Yeah, Prince.
I was gonna ask, if you have kids or something, and you got will they also be immortal?
Yes, your children will be immortal. Right? Your children will be immortal. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 5. Good question. Right? When you have your children in the kingdom of heaven, they will be immortal. Right? The Lord said there will be no more death. Right? Let's go to Job 5 and let's go to 20. This is 25. I believe that's right. Job 5, 25.
This is the book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 25. Thou shalt know also that thy seed shall be great, and thine offspring as the grass of the earth.
So the Lord said your offspring, you're going to have so many children, it's going to be like counting the blade grasses, the grace blades of the earth. Can you do that? Can you go and count with this blade number 1, blade number 2? That's how many children men are going to have in the kingdom of heaven. You're not going to know all of your children, man. You're going to be having children and they're like, look, here's your great-grand. Oh, that's all right. And then, because you got another child on the way. You know? Man can experience that now, man. What you got, brother? What if you don't have any kids? Where? In the kingdom? No, you're going to have children in the kingdom, brother. You're going to have children. No bachelor pads in the kingdom of heaven. Right? No bachelor pads, man. I just want to be a single. You want... You don't want to be a single man in the kingdom, brothers. And I mean, the Lord is going to open up. Go to Psalms 127:3. Right? A barren womb is a product of this fleshly body. Right? Meaning children, like our foremothers, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, had hard times bringing forth children. That's the product of being in this corruptible body that we in now, man. Subject to disease and infertility and things. That's not going to be in the kingdom of heaven. Right? There should be no more curse. Right? And all of the curses in Deuteronomy 28 was at 59 through 61 with plagues and sicknesses and disease that may prohibit childbirth is going to be done away with. And those curses about not being able to bring forth children are going to fall upon our enemies. Right? Let's get this.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 127 and verse 3. Lo, children are an inheritance of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward.
Isn't the kingdom of heaven a reward? Right? So the fruit of the womb is also a reward. The fruit of the womb is children. That's what the Lord said. It's a blessing to have so many children that you're not going to be able to count them, huh? Right? Come on, and when you read that verse, hold on, we can go back to Psalms 127. There's more on that.
Verse 4. As arrows are in the hand of the mighty man.
Right? Aren't arrows used for destruction and war? As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man,
so are children of the youth. Happy is it, Salaki, happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them.
For what?
They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with their enemies in the gate.
What does it mean your children are going to speak with your enemy in the gate? If they're arrows, they're going to fight them and they're going to be raised up as an army. Right? To destroy your enemies. They're your arrows, they're your strength, your weapons of war. Right? To destroy your enemies in the gate, man. You know? So your sons are going to be warriors and mighty men.
Well, we are now.
Right. You know, right, some of us, you have some.
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 8 and verse 2. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with a great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus saith the Lord, I am returned unto Zion, and I will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountains of the Lord of hosts, of the holy mountain. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and young women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem.
Like old men, you may be 1,005 years old. Young, you may be 300. Right? Young is going to be around 400 in the kingdom of heaven. Right? You know, you're around 1,000 years old. You a child, man. Right? You're a youngin, man. And you're 1,000. Hold on, I'm 1,000 been here, man. You know, 100 times 10. And they say, no, you catch up with me. I'm 7,000. You know? So these are the old men and the young men in this Bible.
And every man with his staff in his hand for very age.
Right, Jake is 6,045, but he might want a staff.
And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof.
Like 200-year-old and 99 years old and just playing in the streets. You 600 playing kickball, man. Playing tag and hide and seek. It's not speaking about 4-year-olds and 2-year-olds. Right? Them ages, man, when you're 2 years old, you're looking at a man, he's 8,000. He might not, look, he gonna keep it moving. You know?
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 34 verse 7. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes was not dim, nor his natural force abated.
So when Moses died at 120, he had the vitality of a young man. It was as if he was 20 years old.
Right.
His natural force didn't go away. When something's abated, it's diminished.
Right.
Like the flood waters were abated, right, on the 17th day of the 7th month, Moses' natural force never went down. Right? So he could do them back flips, them front flips, like he was 20 years old. Jake is not like that now at the age of 100. They don't even make it to 120. Jake make it to 25, or you're in prison, or you dead. If you, by rare chance, you pass 80, 40 years over 80, right? You live to be 120, you're not going to have that. But Moses had that. Caleb had that. Right? When you read that in the book of Judges. Or it's like it was at Joshua. Isaiah 65 and 20. Right? We're going to get that too. Alright? The book of Isaiah chapter 65 and 20.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 20. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that have not filled his days.
So everybody's going to live forever in the kingdom. That's what it's saying.
For the child shall die 100 years old.
That don't mean you literally going to die 100 years old. Meaning you're going to live a long time. Right?
But the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed.
So if you're a sinner, you're not going to make it. You're going to be destroyed. But even your children are going to live forever. Right? There's more of that.
Verse 21. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. And they shall not build, and another inhabitant shall not plant, and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands.
Right, in the days of a tree, when you look up trees and how long they last, hundreds of years, man. Hundreds of years, man. That's what Esau trying to figure out the tree. They cut it open and try to look at the rings in it and see, maybe that's, they just winging it. You know? Trying to figure out something, man. Right? So we're going to live a long time forever in the kingdom of heaven, man. Alright? So you're not going to regenerate in the kingdom of heaven because you're not going to die. Alright? The other nations, they're going to go through regeneration because the Edomites aren't going to live forever. The Moabites, they definitely not going to live forever, man. The Hamites, every nation is going to be regenerated.
It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 23. For God created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity.
See that? So man was made to be immortal, man. Right? Man was made to be immortal. Alright?
Salaki. And if sin is death, and we're not going to be able to sin in the kingdom, then how are we going to die?
Right?
Right?
Like that.
Because it's saying in verse 24, nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that hold on his side do find it. They that hold on what? The devil and sin. So if we're going to be perfect in the kingdom, how are we going to hold on that to die?
Right, and a lot of men, they can't perceive that, but that's plain.
Right.
Right, in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, was at 54 on down, the Lord said the sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. So if the laws are in your inward parts, how can you be affected by the pain of sin? Therefore, how can you die? All right? If you have the laws in your inward parts, it's impossible to die because you can't sin anymore. There's no getting around that. Right? That's why it's like in Revelation. Now we're doing a lot of paraphrasing for sake of time, but Revelation 20 and 15, the Lord says death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. Right? The concept of death having dominion and the grave having dominion over the Israelites is going to be destroyed as well. Right?
It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 54. So when the corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the same that is written, death is swallowed up in victory.
See, death is going to be swallowed up in victory. 1 Corinthians 15 and 54. Right? The earth is going to swallow up death. Like when a grave swallows up somebody and they decompose, that's how the earth is going to swallow up and decompose death. Right?
Oh death, where is thy sting?
So now the Lord is kind of talking his mess against death. Like where you at now? Right? Oh death, where is thy sting? Right? How can you affect me now? I'm immortal. Right? Oh death, where is thy sting?
Oh grave, where is thy victory?
Right?
The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law.
So once you go through the wilderness and you go through all the trials of the wilderness and the laws of your inward parts, then you'll never experience death again in your glorified body. Alright? And death is your enemy. That's what the Lord said, man. A lot of chicks, I just want to die. I don't want to be here anymore. You're embracing your enemy. You're a coon. Yeah, if you a Jake and you want to die, you a coon, man. Right? Because you cleave into your enemy, man. You should want to be immortal to rule the earth in righteousness forever, man. If you want to, that's like having an army and a brother saying, man, I'm done with this, man. And he killed himself in the middle of the war. Right? We're all fellow soldiers, man. I just want to give up and go and die. But we don't need you, man. Yeah, you got weak men that just want to give up the ghost, man. I can't make it. Right? Yeah, that Saul spirit, man. Fall upon me. Right? Come on, man.
It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 12. Seek not death in the era of your life, and pull not upon yourselves destruction with the work of your hands.
So the Lord not dealing with suicide. Right? The Lord says, seek not death in the era of your life. Right? Go to Tobit 3 and 10, right? Seek not death in the area of your life, neither pull upon yourself destruction by using your own hands. You making a noose. You pull the Kurt Cobain. You sitting in the car after work in the parking lot by yourself.
Taking 15 Advils.
Russian roulette. You know? That's wicked, man.
It's the book of Tobit, chapter 2 and verse 10.
3 and 10.
It's a lot. 3 and verse 10. And when she heard these things, she was very sorrowful, and that she thought to have strangled herself.
So Sarah wanted to strangle herself. She was so vexed. That's crazy, man. Damn.
And she said, I am the only daughter of my father, and if I do this,
if I commit suicide,
it shall be a reproach unto him.
You see that? If you commit suicide, that's a reproach to your family genealogy, your records, the Most High, Yahweh,
and shall bring his old age with sorrow unto the grave.
See that? So the Lord not dealing with suicide. Don't be strangling yourself, man. That's a heavy way to go out.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's a terrible way, man. Right? So the Lord, every time you read about suicide, it's not in a positive light. Right. Judas committed suicide. I believe there are 7 suicides mentioned in the Bible. Ahithophel, he committed suicide in 2 Samuel. Because his counsel wasn't followed. He was weak too. He didn't follow my advice, I would have killed myself. Right? So you had a lot of weak men in the ancient world, man. Right? Samson is a suicide. Right? But that's a little bit different, but it's still suicide. You know?
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 27, and verse 3. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, he repented himself, and brought again 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders.
So what he did was, remember, he sold out Judas Yahweh for 30 pieces of silver, which is the same thing as $600 today. And then he said, hold on, I renege on that. The Lord got crucified. I want to give them the money back that I got for delivering up Yahweh.
Saying, I have sinned, and that I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, what is that to us?
I don't want that chump change. You keep it to yourself. We got real bread over here. Right?
see thou to that.
Yeah, you handle that little chunk change, man. We don't need that. You know, that's what they told Judas.
And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple.
And he threw it down and left crying. This is a horrible scene right here.
Yeah. And departed and went and hanged himself.
See that? See that? And in the book of Acts, the first chapter, too, that his bowels was all gushed out. When he hung himself, he felt his body exploded. Right? So Judas, he repented and still, at the end of that, committed suicide. All right?
It's the book of Judges, chapter 16 and verse 28. And Samson called unto the Lord and said, O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee, strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once, and God, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars upon the house, and stood on which was borne up, and one in his right hand, and the other in his left hand. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and his house fell upon the lords and upon all the people that were therein. So the death which we slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life.
So when Samson, he was like a suicide bomber. Right? He took himself out and the Philistines. And it had to be tens of thousands of them. Because he already killed 1,000 men with a jawbone of an ass.
Right.
Right? So when he committed suicide, he took down thousands of enemies with him, man. You know, so if you are going to go out, you better go out with a bang. In the book of Maccabees, 2nd Maccabees, you had a man who committed suicide. Remember, he jumped out and his bowels was all gushed out, and he took his organs out and said, I don't need these. I'm going to have to find that account. The 7th? No, that's not the 7th. It is?
Actually 7, when he,
that's fine.
Is an intestine.
We have to get that account. Right? We got to get that account. Right? When this man went crazy. No, that ain't it. No, it's another account. Right? He pulled all of his bowels out, and he jumped down headlong off the tower, man. Right? Yes, in Maccabees. We'll find it. Right? We'll find it most out willing. All right. We'll have to go through it. I could right? We'll find it in due season. But we can read about that man, his bowels is all gushed out, man. You know? And that's going off, man. And he went out hard, man. He jumped off, the Romans was chasing him, the Greeks was chasing him. And he jumped out, man. And jumped off headlong off the tower. And then his body parts was all over the floor. When he survived, right? And he picked it up, his body said, man, F my organs, I don't need them, man. And he kind of threw it at the Romans and went to go, he went out with a bang. So our fathers, man, they was on another level, right? They was on a different level. So regeneration is biblical, that's the point, right? Regeneration is biblical according to the Bible. Brothers, got any questions? All right, let's go to Daniel 12 and 13. Let's get a few more accounts and we'll wind down. All right, let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 12 and 13. You got it. I'm look for this.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 13. But go thy way to the end be, but thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. So the Lord saying straight up and down, look, you're going to have to stand in your lot. Whether you're a murderer, a thief, an idolater, a wicked man, right, a fornicator, you're going to have to stand in that lot that you've been in, right? You come into this truth, you be righteous, you repent, you're going to stand in that lot, man. Because everything you do is not in vain. You got certain men that don't do nothing but want to steal women's wives, right? Want to praise Caesar Borgia. They're going to stand in that lot at the end of the days, man. Right? I got another precept. That was Daniel 12 and 13. Right? Let's get another one. The book of Psalms. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 16, and I'm going to start at verse 5. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. So like the brother was bringing out earlier, if you from the tribe of Judah, you're going to always come back from the tribe of Judah. If you walk with the Lord, you're going to always walk with the Lord. But don't nobody know our last end. You got brothers that walk with the Lord that's going to fall out in the last days, man, that betray the Lord, right? You got the chief priests back on the earth, the Sadducees, right? All of these wicked men, they back on the earth, right? Today, fulfilling that lot, and it's not going to change. Let's get that in the book of Numbers. All right, this is the book of Numbers, chapter 36, and I'm gonna start at verse 7. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe, for every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. Right? So if you a Levite, you're gonna always be a Levite. You're gonna always be a Judite. You're gonna always be from the tribe of Dan. You're gonna always be from the Tally. You're gonna always maintain your lot, right? And if you are wicked, you're gonna always be wicked, man. Right? The Lord created certain spirits to do certain things upon the earth. We read about that in Ecclesiastes, the first chapter. So, right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 15. That which is crooked cannot be made straight. Right? Ultimately talking about the so-called white man. But you got certain wicked jakes, man. They just wicked. Just an old man. Like the Lord said, if you don't learn anything in your youth, how you gonna learn it when you old? Just an old, crooked, drunk, that just want to cuss you out on the highways and byways, old enough to be a great-grandfather. Right? That which is crooked cannot be made straight. That which is wanting cannot be numbered. You got certain men, they just wanting, and they're never going to be numbered. They were never chosen. Right? I found it.
This second Maccabees, this is the account that we were speaking of. Right, this second Maccabees, chapter 14 and 39. Right, second Maccabees 14 and 39. So Nicanor, willing to declare the hate, showing that the so-called white man hates you, that he bear unto the Jews, sent above 500 men of war to take him. But they went to take this man, this powerful man. For he thought by taking him to do the Jews much hurt. And if you take out the leader, everybody will fall. Now when the multitude would have taken the tower, and violently broken into the outer door, and bade that fire should be brought to burn it, he being ready to be taken on every side fell upon his sword. So he went to commit suicide, right? Choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked, like Samson, to be abused otherwise that beseemed his noble birth. But missing his stroke, meaning, he missed that death point. So he stabbed himself, but he was still alive. Right? But missing his stroke through haste, the multitude also rushed within the doors. He ran boldly up to the wall and cast himself down manfully among the thickest of them. So he said, man, he bleeding, and he went to commit suicide the second time and jumped manfully down on the Romans to kill him. But they quickly giving back, and a space being made, he fell down into the midst of the void place. So they kind of moved out the way. So he thought he was going to land on him and kill him, but he hit the ground. So let's see what else happened.
Like crowd dodge.
Yeah. Nevertheless, while there was yet breath within him, being inflamed with anger, he rose up, and though his blood gushed out like spouts of waters. You got to think about that. He committed suicide. His head all over, his skull probably hanging out, his liver over here. It says his blood gushed out like spouts of waters, and his wounds were grievous. Yet he ran through the midst of them, and standing upon a steep rock, when as his blood was now quite gone, he plucked out his bowels, and taking them in both his hands, he cast them upon the throng, and he threw his bowels at them, and calling upon Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of life, and the spirit to restore him those again, he does die.
Yeah, be strong.
See that? He threw his intestines. I don't need these, man. Right? See that? So our fathers was a little bit different, man. Yeah, a little bit different, man. Yeah. Come on, brother.
Strong.
All right. Okay. Let's get a few more and wind down. Right? Let's go to the book. All right. Did you go to Numbers? We did Numbers 24, Revelation. Let's go to Job 19, 25. Right? Job chapter 19 and 25. And then we'll wind down. Right? Job chapter 19 and 25. Come.
This is the book of Job, chapter 19 and verse 25. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth.
Right? Job said, I know Yahweh Shah is going to be here. Go on.
And though after my skin worms destroy this body,
After my body dies,
yet in my flesh shall I see God.
how can your body die and you still see God? You're going to come back on the earth in a different body. He said, though my body decomposed, yet I'm going to still see the Most High in the last days. Showing you that regeneration is even mentioned in the book of Job. Alright? Let's move on that.
Come. Verse 27. Whom I shall see for myself, and mine eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me.
That's right. Come.
It's the book of Job, chapter 10 and verse 21. Before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death. That's talking about Babylon. Right, and this is what Job saying in the spirit. Job saying he's going to be in Babylon, huh? Right? It says, I'm going to start at verse 20. Are not my days few? Cease then, and let me alone, that I may take comfort a little. Before I go, whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death. A land of darkness as darkness itself, and a shadow, and of the shadow of death, without any order, where the light is as darkness. So Job was saying in the spirit that he's going to go to a place where he should not return. And that was prophesied in the book of Deuteronomy 28th chapter, man. We shall see our land no more again.
Right. And that shadow of death. So that's why David said in Psalms 23, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Right? Because the Lord said in Deuteronomy 28 and 36 that thou and thy king shall go into captivity. So David said, look, I'm in the valley of the shadow of death. I'm in America. I'm in the land of darkness. I'm with Job. I'm with Peter. I'm with John. And all our fathers are going to predominantly be in Babylon the Great. You know? You had some young prince? Okay, come on.
I was saying, I don't remember what book it's in. It was saying that most I would take one of a family and
Jeremiah.
And one from a city.
Come, Jeremiah 3 and 14.
Well, I kind of understand, but I don't fully grasp what.
All right, let's read it real quick. Jeremiah 3 and 14. Right, the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and 14.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you, one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
So the Lord is not saving entire families. That's what he's saying. He may literally take one of a city, right? Literally, one man in the town of a population of 800, take that man, he's the only man in the truth, right? Or two of a family, right? You may have a brother, he may be the only brother in his entire family in the truth, or two of them.
That's the part I understand. He says one of a city, that's what the next part says?
One of a city, two of a family, bring them to Zion. So it means basically the Lord not dealing with everybody. Alright? He may take literally 10 people. It may be a city of 5 million, and the Lord only take 21 people in the truth. Maybe 6. Right? So the Lord not gathering everybody. This is not going to be like we all coming out of Egypt, man. You have scoffers coming, railers, extortioners, liars, envy, all of them people. That's why in the book of Luke it says that John the Baptist came ready for people prepared of the Lord, man. So if there's an elect that's coming that's already prepared of the Lord, man, in the spirit. But
so basically, the ones that the chosen, they're the ones that's gonna remember the past with the future. And the babies,
they're not going to know. They're going to have to see the destruction. We have to tell them. We're going to have to tell our children.
Learn about it.
Yeah, we may be in your chariot, and you may fly your chariot over Babylon the Great. And they say, but what's that? You say, that's Babylon the Great. And they say, what's Babylon the Great? Then you're going to remember Babylon the Great. You're going to tell them about it, man. Yeah, I used to work. It used to be this, this land right here. That was San Francisco. Look, he got destroyed by a missile. And Yahweh Shai, he did this. And your son's going to say, really? And then you have to break it down to him, man. Now, he's not going to believe you, right? But you got to break it down to him, you know? So that's how it's going to be in the future, man. You have to tell them about the destruction of the heathen, man. But with that, we're going to close out. That's the in-depth regeneration breakdown. Everybody get it? Make sense? Con. All praise to the Most High. Most High willing, everybody was edified. We're going to proceed to go to camp.
Come on.
Con.